So it may be late March, but it sure does feel an awful lot like summer out there. Stop me if you've heard this one. Today saw another day of record heat here in Denver. Sounds like a broken record of heat.
Wild.
Thanks for joining us at 4, everyone. I'm Phil Lipoff.
And I'm Sam Shocker, in for Kim Christensen. Thank you so much for being here. The record heat isn't going away. In fact, it's only getting hotter tomorrow. So we got to check in with the woman of the hour. There she is, Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. How hot is it going to get tomorrow?
Today, so far, we've hit 80. Tomorrow will be close to 90. But tomorrow will be the warmest day of the week, and then temperatures start to trend back down where they should be for this time of year. We started mostly sunny. It was a glorious day. Now there are a few clouds rolling in. Clouds did little to cut the heat. So far, 80 degrees at DIA, breaking that record of 76 set back in 1896. This is the 4th record high in 6 days in our snowiest month. And the mountains did see some snow overnight last night. Not enough that it did any type of didn't create any impact on the roadways or on the hills, but it just made everybody happy to see that snow falling. Here are the temperatures out there right now. 78 outside the studios, 89 in Rocky Ford, 76 in Eagle, and 83 in Grand Junction. Temperatures are some 10 to 15 degrees warmer than they were 24 hours ago. Humidity numbers are coming down as the wind is increasing over elevated terrain. So, of course, we're going to be talking about fire danger, red flag warnings, fire weather watch areas. The leading edge of the ridge is just beginning to shift over Colorado, the flow around it clockwise. So that's where all that cloud cover is coming from. Not seeing much out of those clouds in the form of rain or snow. And that just makes for a pleasant evening for you coming up. Low 80s now, dropping into the 70s by about 9 o'clock tonight. Another record expected tomorrow. We'll talk about critical fire weather and that forecast ahead of a storm and a cooler weather trend on Friday.
Kathy, thank you. And with these record low temperatures, we also have some record low snowpack this winter. And we will likely see some form of water restrictions in the spring and the summer if we have a spring. Winter Park Museum is doubling down on its water conservation mission. The potential water restrictions across the state this spring and summer is threatening both the environment and outdoor tourism economy. That's worth nearly $14 billion annually. Staff at the Headwaters Center and River Journey Museum in Winter Park say the situation has made their educational work all that much more important. The museum's mission is to connect visitors to their water sources and illustrate just how human behavior impact water systems. Staff now actively promoting conservation tips people can adopt before formal restrictions take effect.
You see a lot of water going to outdoor watering, so watering your lawns, your grass, your trees. There's also a lot we can do inside the home as well. So we're not going to be leaving our water running as we're washing dishes, as we're brushing teeth. We're just all gonna have to be a little bit more conscientious. Maybe we're not taking 15-minute showers, we're taking 10-minute showers. It's all little changes that will add up.
The center goes on to say that the poor ski season has driven more visitors through the museum's door, meaning more people are receiving that water conservation message.
Well, the lack of snow has the Colorado Department of Transportation dealing with something unexpected. It has around $12 million of unspent snow plowing money. Now CDOT is hoping to use that money to help prevent wildfires. 9 News Northern Colorado reporter Amanda Gilbert explains how.
$12 million sounds like a lot, but CDOT says they set that aside every year, and usually they use it. It's clearly been a weird winter.
Well, of course, we all know there's been a lack of snow this year.
Lack of snow is something Bob Pfeiffer usually doesn't think about this time of year.
We have about $12 million that was in contingency, assuming that there would be some snow and ice removal off the highways. And so right now that's sitting in contingency.
The Deputy Director of Operations says CDOT crews are already switching to summer mode.
So this kind of escalated spring and maybe even some summer about 30 days earlier than we anticipated.
They're hoping to make the best of it.
There is a silver lining from our perspective.
CDOT has more money and more time to remove dead or dying trees along narrower highways.
When a highway is, say, 24, 30, 32 feet wide, it's very close when you go pavement to pavement.
That can be a problem during wildfires.
Dead trees become a way for fire to arch over the highway, and so fires can shut down for days on end a highway, which is critically important for first responders as well as for people that live around those highways.
CDOT's working with the winter they've been dealt so they can be ready for anything this summer.
Hopefully we can avoid some forest fires this year.
And CDOT's asking people to just be aware of how dry it is right now. They're saying, drivers, please don't fling cigarettes out of your car. Try not to drag things on the road like chains, and just be aware of how dry the grass is. Amanda Gilbert, 9 News.
Great reminders, Amanda. CDOT is in the process of reaching out to tree removal companies to do fire mitigation along some interstates like I-70. They'll mainly focus on 2-lane highways, especially in the Front Range.
The unseasonably warm and dry weather is bringing an early surge of visitors to Jeffco Trails, with rangers saying it already feels like summer. Trails that are usually muddy and snow-covered in March are now dry, creating ideal conditions for hiking and biking. Rangers say that's driving summer-like visitation with packed trailheads and people parking illegally. They're also dealing with a rise in improperly discarded dog waste bags and reminding people to pack them up and take them with them. Rangers are also urging people to stay on designated trails, not just protect dry vegetation, but because rattlesnakes have already been spotted weeks earlier than normal.
By and large, the trails are holding their own. Again, though, with the volume, we want to make sure you stay on those trails and you don't go off. And there's, that's not only to protect that flora and fauna on the shoulders, but also what we've already seen this year is rattlesnakes. And that's a little unique for this time of year. Snakes are not unique to our system, but in early March, they are. And so if you needed any more motivation to stay on the trail, perhaps that might be just what it takes.
You had me at snake. Rangers say since the trails are used a lot more than usual this winter, they may have a little extra wear and tear come summer as well.
Minnesota officials filed a federal lawsuit today against the Trump administration, accusing them of withholding evidence related to 3 shootings by federal officers. That includes the deadly shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, both of whom have ties to right here in Colorado. The lawsuit asks the court to force the feds to comply with state investigations into the shootings. The Justice Department had said back in January it would open a federal investigation into Preddy's killing, but said one wasn't required for Good's killing. The Colorado Attorney General has agreed to settle with a company at the center of a 2-year-long investigation by Steve on Your Side. 9 News first broke this news this morning. This deal will cancel what the AG called unfair real estate contracts and keep an estimated $8.4 million in homeowners' pockets. Steve on Your Side first exposed these contracts from a company called MV Realty back in 2023. The company offered homeowners a few hundred to a couple $1,000s in exchange for signing a contract that would entitle MV Realty to a share of commission if they ever sold their home. What many of these homeowners did not know, they were signing a 40-year agreement that operated like a lien on the property, holding up the title if those homeowners tried to refinance or sell. Laura Walsh first told us her story in 2023 when she couldn't find anyone from MV Realtor to help sell her home, but the company then demanded more than $20,000 when she sold it. This agreement means she'll get some of that money back. She says she's glad she kept fighting, told her story, and testified in this case.
We're needing some wins out there in the world right now, and it's just nice to see something that actually is looking out and taking care of people in need that are either being taken advantage of or overlooked. Huge group of people here in Colorado were taken in by it. Older, fixed incomes. I was having health issues at the time. It's great to be behind a cause and a process and a solution that everybody but MV Realty wins.
Under this settlement agreement, MV Realty would permanently void all its existing contracts with homeowners, which at last check, there were about 600 in the state. The company will also pay $600,000 in restitution, likely paid to people like Laura, who had to fork over money to the company because of these contracts. A judge still has to sign off on the settlement. MV Realty would have 35 days from the day the settlement is approved to notify homeowners that their contracts have now been voided.